Hi guys, this is Jeff at Slavens Racing. This video is about the Coober ECU. That's what it looks like right there. And ECU stands for Electronic Control Unit. So this is the unit, the brains or the computer that controls the fuel injection system and the ignition system. And it reads off of several sensors that the engine has. So it can make corrections for elevation and temperature, and it works very well. So we got these in, and I'm going to say around 3 years ago, maybe longer. And before we even got them in, I tested them. As I do with any expensive performance product, I always spend some time testing them before we ever bring them in. I want to make sure it's a good product for our customer. And I really don't like having anything on our shelves that I wouldn't use myself. So. Anyhow, when I tested it back then, I thought it was very good, but I didn't spend enough time with it, and I went back to the GET ECU, and I still use the GET ECU. I've got one bike with a GET and one with a Coober in it. I like them both. The GET is kind of the big daddy with all the bells and whistles you can imagine, a Wi-Fi comm unit so that you can tune it with your cell phone. Also includes a map switch, all that kind of stuff. Whereas the Coober is more of a bare bones. The GET requires some setup, whereas the Coober does not. The Coober is just totally plug and play. You remove the seat, unplug the stock unit, plug this in. You don't have to do any kind of setup. That's all there is to it. Remove the stock one, plug this in, go ride. And then start and run great. Right off the bat. There's really a lot to like about this thing. I've been using it this summer. I've been using it actually since really early in the year, and doing a lot more testing with it. And I really kind of underrated this thing when we first got them. It's really a much better unit than I thought. I didn't do enough testing in the beginning, and I didn't do enough comparison testing. Compared to the stock ECU, well, there really is no comparison. The stock ECU, in my opinion, sucks. Especially when you start them up, they're extremely rich. They try to foul the spark plug. It takes a ways to blow them out. They run rich on the bottom, but that kind of gives them a fairly strong bottom end. And then they're really flat in the mid-range and top end. And they're down in horsepower. And I don't know how many guys I've talked to, local guys on the phone, to tell me their new 300s just run great. And I'm thinking, compared to what? Compared to my 300, they don't run great. Compared to an old carbureted 300, they don't run great. But they can run great if you do just a little, spend a little and do a little work. Add this product, and then you'll have a great running bike. And the GET ECU is for the guy that wants the maximum horsepower, that has some tinkeritis and wants to mess with the tuning. It's just a lot more robust system. Comes with a map switch, all that kind of stuff. But if you don't want brain damage from any of that stuff, I think the Coober is fantastic because, like I mentioned before, it's strictly plug and play or plug and ride. Plug and go have fun. Plug and burn some tires, burn some rubber. It's a fantastic unit. It's got 2 maps in it. You can use a map switch like this one that's kind of hidden under these cables right here. That comes stock on one model, I think on the ISE KTM models, and one of the Husqvarna models. We also sell those. That's a KTM hard parts switch. Or you can use the sick-ass map switch. Both of them work very well with this. And with the stock ECU, the difference between the maps is fairly minor. With this, it's a much bigger difference. Let's see, map, I'm forgetting which map was which. Map 1, I believe, is the all-around map. So it mimics the stock power band. No, it does not mimic stock power band because the stock power band sucks. It mimics what should be the stock power band. You know, it pulls strong from the bottom through the mid-range, nice over rev on the top, and it just has more power everywhere and runs really nice and clean, starts extremely well. Doesn't take much warm up or anything. You know, you can pretty much just start them and go. And then the other map, which I believe is map 2, is the torque map. So on that map, it gives it more bottom end and mid-range, but it doesn't have the top end of map 1. And it's but a bigger boost to the bottom end than map 1 has. I use map 1 on most of my riding because I do a lot of tight technical stuff. And I use map 2 if I'm in some place that's more open, or if the guys that I'm with feel like kind of running a faster pace that day, I might run map 1. But both maps are excellent. They both eliminate the pipe bang that you might be experiencing. They both have smooth power delivery. They'll both improve the engine life. They'll extend the engine life, and that's because, you know, if your fueling is not correct, you're going to have probably rich and lean spots in there. And those lean spots, you know, make the motor run hotter, and that can shorten the engine life. And, you know, these Coobers, they really adjust and compensate for different pipes. They'll work with, you know, any of the pipes on the market, any of the mufflers on the market. They'll work with a stock compression engine or a higher compression engine. So they'll work with any of the different heads that are available. You know, we sell the S3 head, which is our own proprietary insert design. They work well with that. They really do, you know, we're up here, my house is at 6,300 feet of elevation, and I ride up to about 12,000 feet of elevation, and it runs nice and clean and strong through all those elevation ranges. It runs well on hot days and cold days, and I'm really impressed with how well it compensates. I would recommend that you use one of our easy idle screws in your throttle body, but it's not 100% necessary. And you know, the pricing on this thing is $649.95. Which is much less expensive than the Gets. We've got two different Gets. We've got the standard Get, which I believe is $979, and then we've got the Get with the race kit, which relocates the injectors, and it's $1185. So at $649, this thing is a deal. But you know what I like about it the most is that it just plain works without any kind of a hassle. You just stick it in there and you go ride and you have a great time. You know, it also improves the oil management. So it does not add oil straight across the board. It adds oil in different parts of the power band where it needs more oil. You don't need more oil at idle, so they don't add any more there. And I think that's about it, guys. It's a home run. It's easy to install, reasonable price point, great power delivery, longer engine life, 2 maps, works with, you know, everything. It's a no-brainer. So, guys, if you would, like us on Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Give us a shout out when you can. Throw us a bone when you can. When you need something, we've got everything you could possibly imagine for KTM's, Husqvarna's, gases, betas, Shercos. You know, if we don't have it for KTM Husky or gas, you probably don't need it. You know, I ride KTM's, so obviously I want everything in stock on the shelves, and that's the way it is. All right, guys, get out and ride, get some throttle therapy, have a good time. That's all for now.